2 weeks ago, Kelsey Best, driving the virtual Miss Home Street, successfully defended his 2020 Madison Regatta Championship with another solid win in front of hometown fans on the Ohio River. It was the second race of the season on the H1 Unlimited E-League Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. Hello again, everyone. I'm Brad Luce. Today, the series moves west to the Columbia River in Tri-Cities, Washington. It's one of the true gems on the H1 E-League circuit. Gone are the short straightaways and tight turns of the 2-mile Ohio River Racecourse. Instead, the drivers today will compete on the 2.5-mile Columbia River Racecourse, arguably the fastest track on the circuit. Speeds are sure to rise. But the big story for today's racing involves a major upgrade and change to the racing platform itself. For more on that story, let's bring in my broadcast partner, Tate Meyer. Tate?
Good afternoon, Brad. We got a great day of racing ahead of us. Some changes to the HydroSim racing platform thanks to a huge effort by Scott Przybylski putting this update in before our Tri-Cities race. Now you see the boats in the pit area on version 0.7, the beta build, which is a great touch. We also have a change in how the boats ride. You'll see that. They're a little bit more stable down the straightaway, a bit more like the real H1 Unlimited hydroplanes, and also we have the addition of individual boat setups. So when they all go out for the heat, you won't know who has what setup on and what strategy they're gunning for as they enter into the first turn. So some boats might be more geared up for the middle or outside lanes. Some boats might be geared up for the inside lanes. You got to put a gear in or setup in the boat, and then hopefully you get that lane that you chose or wanted to choose at the start of the heat, Brad, because if you're in the inside lane, you have an outside setup, you're going to be overpropped and you're going to be left behind. So it's going to be a fun day here on the Columbia River. I can't wait. Let's get started.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And the changes you just outlined there, especially with regards to boat setup, that could be huge. We have seen such maneuvering and such work by these drivers to try and get that inside lane. Maybe now, and I expect we're going to see some of these guys, as you just explained, gear up for an outside lane, not worry about getting into that hassle for an inside lane, gear it up, wind it up, and run it hard on the outside. This should be good. We talked also about the speeds might be increasing here with some of these changes. Boy, we've already seen that with regards to our qualifying here earlier.
We have seen that with regards to our qualifying. Our top qualifier here for our E-League Racing Series presented by Washington Angels Foster Care Community. If I can bring it up, here we go. Top qualifier, Tim Johnson in the U91 Miss Goodman Real Estate, 168.324. So the speeds have gone up once you find that right setup for your boat, and it can pay big dividends in your qualifying and your race speeds, all dependent on if you get the lane that you choose. But 168 by Tim Johnson, that's cooking.
Yeah, it sure is. And 11 of our 12 boats in our full field today are north of the 160-mile-an-hour mark. This is going to be a fast one. I mentioned at the outset, this is one of the fastest race courses on the circuit. I'm really excited to get to our racing today. With that having been said, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind our fans that H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing is brought to you in part by Spokane Angels, 3 locations in the state of Washington in Spokane, Seattle, and Olympia. Spokane Angels, where they wrap community around children, youth, and families experiencing foster care. And by Jesse's Stitches, custom embroidery and more in Snohomish, Washington since 1990. I'm ready to go racing. We have our celebrity draws ready to go here for today again. Tate Meyer, and before we do that, let me introduce who is going to do the draws for our Heats 1A and 1B. No stranger to H1 Unlimited hydroplane racing fans. He is our 2019 H1 Unlimited National High Points champion. He is Jimmy Shane.
Jimmy Shane, driver. You won Miss Home Street Unlimited hydroplane racing team. I'm going to go ahead and do the heat draws for Heats 1A and 1B for the E-League race. Here we go. Heat 1A. Let's go with the 9. Heat 1B. We'll go with the 440. Heat 1A. The 3. Heat 1B, 48. 1A, the 12. 1B, the 11. Heat 1A, the 7. Heat 1B, the 98. Heat 1A, I think I'm on. The 91. Go Miss Madison Racing. Heat 1B. The 6. Go Kelsey. Heat 1A. The 8. And Heat 1B. The 1. Good luck, everyone.
Tate Meyer, I think we are about ready to go racing here. Thanks to Jimmy Shane, our Heats 1A and Heats 1B are drawn. They are ready to go. Boats will be going into the water here just momentarily. While they do, it gives us an opportunity to once again remind our fans that the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care is brought to you in part by Atomic Screen Printing and Embroidery, a leading Northwest producer of high-quality screen-printed and embroidered products since 1998. Tate Meyer right out of the box here in Heat 1A. We've got our top qualifier, Tim Johnson, in that U91 Goodman Real Estate with that amazing speed of 168 miles an hour and change. It's going to be a fast heat. I'm really anxious to see this. The changes that have been made to the racing platform. Let's get it underway and put us on the clock.
Let's put us on the clock. Clock starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Here we go with Heat 1A.
Heat 1A of the 2021 Columbia Cup Virtual Hydroplane Race. It's the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. You see the boat starting to come away from the pit area there. Going to be a little difficult to keep an eye and tell the difference perhaps between boat 8 and 9. Those are the two strong racing entries. The 8 will be featured more in red, as the 9 will have more black on the boat. There is the 9 right there. And you can also see there is a little bit of a tail fin on the back of the cowling on the strong racing boat number 2. That is the black U9. But let's run down our boats in the field for our Heat 1A. On board right there, we mentioned our top qualifier, Tim Johnson. Top qualifying speed of 168 miles an hour, the U91. Tim Johnson, 24-year-old out of Pasco, Washington. Looking here at the U3, the piston-powered boat, Go 3 Racing, that brings Ace Hardware. The boat is driven by TJ Zerwinski. TJ calls Tonawanda, New York home. He's a rookie on our circuit this year. Rookie or not, everybody in the Tri-Cities loves piston power. TJ Zerwinski driving the 3. Now you're looking at the U12, the Graham Trucking. It's driven by Quentin Miller. The boat is predominantly red. It is trimmed in black and silver. Quentin calls home to Mercer Island, Washington. He is 26 years old. Quentin Miller driving the U12 Graham Trucking. Back on board with the U3, looking for, I believe that is the 8. That's the 9. I knew I'd have trouble with them. That's a Strong Racing 2 entry. It is driven by Nick Kish. It is the U9. Nick, is 32 years of age. Home is Rochester Hills, Michigan. He is a rookie in our league, but he can certainly handle this U9 virtual hydroplane. There is the U7, the Boitano home, Spirit of Detroit. The boat is driven by Scott Przybylski. Scott is 35 years of age. He calls home to San Diego, California. And as we mentioned at the outset of the program here, he is our games creator. So very knowledgeable about HydroSim. Looking for the U8. There's the U8 right there, Strong Racing. This is the boat that is red up front. It is driven by Carson Kelly, the 11-year-old out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. He is a rookie. He also is very, very good. Don't let that 11 years of age fool you. Carson Kelly, he handles the driving chores of the U8 Strong Racing. Number 1, it is the red boat. So looking at our clock now, we got a $1.50 until the start. Boats are still all over the race course. Tate Meyer, one of the differences we see right out of the box, we don't see as many boats parked down there in lane 1 trying to fight for that inside lane.
You don't see as many boats down here parked for lane 1, but there are a few. We got Przybylski and Miller. Here goes Nick Kish going through turn 1, about 20 seconds left. Now what's different is we kind of had a good idea of when the boats were going to get on it to get that inside lane. In the last build, we thought it was about 20 seconds at this buoy right here where Quentin Miller's going to go to. Looks like he's waiting a bit longer, maybe for 10 or so. It looks like 10 or 11 seconds is that magic mark. So we will see the boats coming around the rest of the turn here. 2, 1, mark. Should be a clean score up. We'll check in with our referee Jared Meyer. Clean score up as Quentin Miller goes up the backstretch. He's followed on his outside by Carson Kelly. Carson can move over into lane 2. We'll see if he wants to, though. If he's got a taller gear and a bigger prop set up, he might want to stay outside, Brad.
Yep, and he did not move over, so Quentin was able to defend his position and hold that inside lane. That's one of the big differences between this bigger race course here in the Tri-Cities versus where we were 2 weeks ago in Madison. There wasn't that long straightaway for the potential of the leapfrog, and we saw very little of it. I suspect we'll see more today. But right now, as we come up on 20 seconds until our start, Quentin Miller is sitting in lane number 1. Carson Kelly is in 2. Looks like Scott Przybylski is in 3. As they come off the top end of the race course, we're inside 10 seconds until the start. Want to be on the line at full song when the clock strikes 0. We're 2 seconds, 1 mark. And we are racing here in the virtual Columbia Cup here in the Tri-Cities, Washington, and the Columbia River, running hard down into the first corner. Who's going to get down there first? It's going to be Carson Kelly on the outside, but he's only got about 2 boat lengths on Quentin Miller just off to his left. Those 2 are out front. They're getting through the corner clean, Tate. This will be a good run down the backstretch.
Be a great run down the backstretch. It's Carson Kelly and Quentin Miller deck to deck. You see Carson Kelly with a little bit more acceleration at the backstretch, Brad. He's been able to pull about a half a rooster tail lead as they head up the backstretch into turn number 2. Tim Johnson is contending for that second place spot with Quentin Miller as they hit turn number 2.
Watch the boats here at the top end of the race course. You got it. Carson Kelly had the top end and the acceleration. He had a lot of shoot speed up the backstretch, but then it was Quentin Miller with the lane position on the inside. Quentin able to close up to basically right alongside the young man. And down the front straightaway as they'll come down and put 2 in the books. This is a dandy out front. 2 guys tied together. 1 in lane 1, that's Quentin Miller, the youngster on the outside, driving boat number 8 for Strong Racing. And they are dead even at the entrance pin, Tate.
Looks like Quentin Miller is going to have a little bit of an advantage at the exit pin, but watch the acceleration from Carson Kelly's U8 Strong Racing 1 boat. Tim Johnson is still hanging out there in lane 3. He might settle for 225 points, but there goes Carson Kelly up the backstretch in the U8. You can see that acceleration just a bit taller in his boat than in Quentin's acceleration. Maybe it's a gear ratio, maybe it's a prop. We'll see if he has enough acceleration off of this final corner to hold Quentin off to the checkered flag.
Coming down to put the lap in the books. They're going to come off the corner virtually dead even. Oh, this is going to be really, really
Here's
close.
The end of lap 2.
Coming down, and you can barely pick a winner. You can put a blanket across those 2 boats, but it was Quentin Miller with about a half a boat length lead as they put 2 of 3 in the books. This is the final lap. This is the white flag lap. The checkered flag will greet these 2 boats. This has been a beauty. This time, Quentin Miller's got about 2, maybe 3 boat lengths as they come to the exit pin here of turn 1. But this is where Kelly has shown an amazing amount of acceleration and top end speed driving that U8 for Strong Racing. See if he can do it again. This time, Quentin seems to be holding him off a little bit better, Tate.
Quentin had a better exit out of turn number 1. He put the pedal down a little bit sooner and got a little bit of more bite out of the propeller up the backstretch. Quentin Miller hits the exit pin of turn 2 first. Let's see if Carson Kelly has a little bit more acceleration and can catch Quentin on the inside. But it's a half a rooster tail, Brad, as they hit the exit pin. I don't know if he's going to have enough.
I think he's going to run out of real estate. In fact, I think Quentin Miller's going to draw it away as we come to the completion of Heat 1A. The checkered flag to Quentin Miller. Second place will go to Carson Kelly. And our third place finisher is our top qualifier, the U91, Goodman Real Estate, with Tim Johnson aboard. Fourth place will go to Boitano Homes and Scott Przybylski. Our fifth place finisher will be Nick Kish, driving the 9 for Strong Racing. There you see that little tail fin that we talked about at the beginning of the heat. And rounding out our 6-boat field here in Heat 1A is TJ Zerwinski, driving the Go3 Racing, the Griggs Ace Hardware. Good racing there in our Heat 1A. That's what we've come to expect in the H1 Unlimited E-League Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. But here we are out in the Tri-Cities. We've come west, Tate Meyer. Nothing seems to change. We've still got that great competition.
Great competition in the E-League. Everybody's so evenly matched, and you saw the outside setup prevail for the first couple laps, and then the inside setup that Quentin Miller had just prevailed the last couple laps. Great heat so far in our Heat 1A. Great start to the races, and we'll have Quentin Miller up here in the broadcast booth. Quentin, how'd you get that little bite out of the propeller up the backstretch to hold him off in the last lap?
I just trying to pin it to the buoys and fly it a little bit more, you know, still working through the setup and been playing with it a little bit this week, and looked like it was okay there. I was a little worried after the first lap. The kid was pulling away from me a little bit, and I had to start putting a little more foot in it there. But got to thank Graham Trucking, owner Rob Graham, for everything he does. And all our sponsors, Angels of Washington, Jesse Stitches, Atomic Screen Printing, and everybody at H1. This was awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed that. It was pretty cool racing with Carson there, and I think Tim was out there. Hopefully it looked cool for you guys.
I can tell you it was certainly cool for us guys. I know the fans are enjoying it. It's a good start to the race day for yourself. That's 400 points. And it's all about getting those points and finding your way into the final heat. Congratulations on a good start to Heat 1A. We'll look for you later on down the day.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Quentin Miller, first place finish in our Heat 1A. Heat 1B is on deck. Before we go there, I'd like to remind our fans that H1 Unlimited is a proud club of the American Powerboat Association, the national authority for boat racing in the United States. The APBA is a member-driven organization established in 1903 and headquartered in East Point, Michigan. For more information on the American Powerboat Association, head over to www.apba.org. That's www.apba.org. They would love to have you as a member. Heat 1B looks like another dandy, Tate Meyer. I'm ready if you are. Let's get them on the clock.
Let's get them on the clock here, Brad. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. Heat 1B is on the clock.
I really like the new graphics there with the boats lined up there in the pit area. You see them come off the trailers and head into the water. If they could only do it that fast in real life, wouldn't that be something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, H1 Unlimited E-League hydroplanes coming away from the dock. Going to be a lot of orange in this one. And let's take a look at the 6 boats that will run in our Heat 1B of the 2021 Virtual Columbia Cup. On board right now with the U11, that is Ben Dowell driving the J&Ds. Ben currently resides in Nashville, Tennessee. He's 33 years of age. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee now, but he used to live in the Pacific Northwest in Tacoma, Washington, so no stranger to real unlimited hydroplane racing out of the Northwest. Ben Dowell driving the 11 J&Ds. Riding on board here with the U1 Bucket List Racing, this is Fast Eddie Canfouche. He is 18 years of age out of Grand Island, New York. He holds an extremely slim lead in our 2021 National High Points race. But on the left side of the sponson deck there, you can see that U1. Eddie wants very much to keep that number on that boat for 2022. Eddie Canfouche, Bucket List Racing U1. Riding on board now with the U48 Lake Ridge Paving, 42-year-old out of Pasco, Washington. His name is Mickey Washburn. Mickey will handle the driving duties for the 48 today. A predominantly white boat with a black and white checkerboard scheme on the fairings. The red, white, and blue of the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. Now we're on board with the...
Let's go, Graham Trucking.
There it is. There it is. Graham Trucking American Dream. Matt Johnson, the 30-year-old out of Port Angeles, will handle the driving chores as he has all season long for this team. Patriotic paint scheme, red, white, and blue. Can't miss this one on the water. Matt Johnson, I'm looking for... Washburn, we're on board. There's the U6 Miss Home Street. The winner 2 weeks ago in Madison, Indiana was Kelsey Best, 33 years of age, out of Mesa, Arizona. The boat is predominantly powder blue and white. You know it if you follow this sport at all. It is the Miss Home Street. He is down there just at the entrance pin to turn 1 with 2:15 until our start. Kelsey Best in the Miss Home Street. Rounding out our field is the 440 Bucket List Racing number 2 entry. Bo Rarig will handle the driving duties. He is out of Monroe, Washington. He is 28 years of age. Bo Rarig, he was our winner in Guntersville, Alabama. He'd love nothing better than to pick up a victory here in the Pacific Northwest. The 440 Bucket List Racing 2. $150 until the start. We got a bunch of them camped down there in turn 1, Tate.
They're all camped here. Looks like we got Ben Dowell, Kelsey Best, and I think behind Kelsey might be Eddie Canfush, but he might have vacated the premises and went around. So we'll see if we can track where Eddie Canfush is. If we pan back from our familiar pit tower spot that you are so familiar with down in the Tri-Cities, Brad Luce. So we have 20 seconds until the 1 minute pin. There goes Eddie. He's going to try to get in front of Ben Dowell. Looks like he just boxed Kelsey Best out of lane 2. Again, we're looking at about that 12 to 11 second mark as the rest of the boats come around turn 2, or come into turn 2 on our 4-corner super speedway here. They all pick it up. Let's see who's legal and who's not. The 1 minute pin mark, it looked pretty close as they go up the backstretch. Clean score up from our officials, Brad. Ben Dowell is going to try his best to hold on to lane 1. Eddie Canfush in lane 2. Kelsey Best in lane 3. It looks like Matt Johnson is going to have enough to overlap and kick Kelsey Best out of lane 2 or lane 3. Maybe even Eddie Canfush out of lane 2. Let's see if he does it. I don't think he will. It's going to be Ben in 1, Eddie in 2, and Matt in 3 as they hit 33 seconds.
Yeah, I think our friend Eddie Canfush is pretty happy and maybe a little lucky that he was able to hold on to lane number 2 there. I expected Matt Johnson to make a move to the left and take lane 2. He did not. He got it from Kelsey Best, however, and you just saw Kelsey behind the field going way to the outside as we're inside 15 seconds until our start. That was a good run down the backstretch. We had some moves by the boats on the outside. Now it's all about putting the boat on the line with a lot of boat speed. Ben Dowell's going to be in lane number 1, coming up on 2 seconds, 1 second, mark. And it appears to be a clean start. Eddie Canfush with a beauty from lane number 2. He's got Ben Dowell off to his left on the inside as they roar and rumble down here into turn number 1 on this big 2.5-mile race course here in the Tri-Cities. And you see the lane there being left for Ben Dowell, but he didn't hold it. Dowell went through the rooster tail and then took a left-hand turn, went right back through it. Eddie Canfush looked to be totally legal from where I was watching Tate. And up the backstretch, it is all Eddie Canfush and the Bucket List Racing.
It is all Eddie Canfush up the backstretch. It looks like Ben Dowell should count himself lucky going through the rooster tail and not incurring any damage on the boat or any foul attitude out of the boat. Looks like Matt Johnson takes a big hop down the backstretch. He's going to be deck to deck with Ben Dowell on the inside in the 11 as Ben goes out a little bit into Matt's lane but tucks it back in at the exit pin. End of lap 1. Eddie Canfush in the lead.
Eddie Canfush is way out in front. He's got over a rooster tail lead. The race is for second place, and it is between Ben Dowell and Matt Johnson. Matt looks like he's taken over second place, but he's having to run outside of the wake left by Eddie Canfush, and Eddie's still leaving a lane on the inside for Ben Dowell. Ben's been struggling to hold that inside lane, and now he seems to be dropping back a little further. Definitely in second place now is Matt Johnson, but it is all Fast Eddie Canfush. The young man out of Grand Island, New York, is showing he can come clear across the country and drive pretty well out here in the Pacific Northwest.
He can drive very well pretty much wherever we race, Brad, but it's going to be Kelsey Best passing up Ben Dowell for 4th place. Bo Rarig taking over for 3rd place, and Matt Johnson trying to challenge Eddie Canfouche at the exit of turn 2 here for first place. We'll see if he can mount a challenge. Maybe he's got a bigger, taller gear and a bigger prop on. Maybe he can chase him down, Brad.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch. He's going to have one more lap to do it if he chooses to really extend the boat and do that. Remember, this is only Heat 1B. We say this every week. We say it at every race, Tate. You can't win our virtual Columbia Cup here in the first heat of the day, but you can certainly lose it. He is sitting right now on a solid second place, and there's 300 points that comes with a second place finish. We'll see just how hard he wants to push it, but I can tell you what, he is not going away. He is staying in the right side rear view mirror of Eddie Canfouche. Eddie knows he's there, and he has actually closed some ground. Matt Johnson, he's about half a rooster tail back as you see Eddie fly the right spots and up the backstretch. He's got to settle that boat down before he can turn it to the left. He does, and here comes Johnson on the outside. He's going to have a lot of acceleration and wind it up. Bring him to the line, Tate.
Eddie Canfouche has got Matt Johnson by about a half a rooster tail as they hit the line. Matt Johnson closes, and Eddie Canfouche takes it by about 2 or 3 boat lengths, Brad. What a finish to the heat. Matt Johnson came from way outside in lane 3 or 4 and tried to track down Eddie Canfouche. What a race.
Yeah, and boy, there's the change in the racing platform that we spoke of at the beginning of the program here, because we haven't seen that in the racing up to this point. Once somebody had a definite lead, especially a full rooster tail lead and an inside lane, if they could keep their boat on the water, it was pretty much over. But to your point, here was Matt Johnson, obviously with a taller gear ratio, and he was able to almost run down Eddie with an outside lane. So that's the change. That's what we're seeing now in our boat racing here on the H1 Unlimited E-League Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. I don't know if we've seen heats any better than Heat 1A and 1B here to start our day. Great racing.
Great racing to start our day off. Eddie Canfouche, Matt was approaching your boat every lap on the far outside. How did you hold him off? Did you get the lane that you wanted for the setup that you had in the boat?
Yeah. The setup I have, it's good off the corners, carries speed in, and has some decent top end too. So my plan that heat was I didn't want to end up in lane 1 because lane 1 gets pretty sloppy sometimes. I felt pretty comfortable in lane 2 or 3, was able to nab 2, hit a good start, and once I got clear of the 11, I started to pedal it a little bit because it's pretty rough out there on the virtual Columbia. And, Matt started closing. My spotter Quentin was giving me boat lengths, and the last lap I had to put my foot in it a little more, and he got pretty close. So might need to be a little more dangerous on the wing next time.
Hey, Eddie, Brad Luce here. Quick question. During the 1 minute period up the backstretch, I thought you might lose lane 2 to a leapfrog. That's the way I saw it from where I was. How about from your view? Did it get close? Do you think you were going to get leaped?
Yeah. Ben and I, we hit the score up fine, but we just didn't have any speed. And, going down the backstretch, Matt hit a great one on the outside. I thought he was going to at least move over to 2 in front of me. I thought I was going to get hosed down the backstretch, but he was really kind. I had my foot in it, so probably worked out that he stayed out in 3. But, yeah, no, I definitely thought it was going away.
Well, congratulations. It's a good start to the race day here. You got 400 points, and good luck in the second set of heats.
All right, thank you very much. And one last shout out, I got to thank Washington Angels for sponsoring the series, just so we can run this series and have a great time on the stream. Atomic Screen Printing, Jesse Stitches, the APBA. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. And of course, like every time, I got to thank the Stocklands for letting me drive their boat, Taylor Evans for helping me out with pretty much everything, and of course the rest of the crew, who I hopefully can meet sometime this summer.
Very good. Thanks, Eddie. We'll talk to you later on in the day. The H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series is brought to you in part by Spokane Angels. Spokane Angels with 3 locations in the state of Washington, in Spokane, Seattle, and Olympia. The Spokane Angels, where it is their mission to walk alongside children, youth, and families in the foster care community by offering consistent support through intentional giving, relationship building, and mentorship. And by Atomic Screen Printing and Embroidery, a leading Northwest producer of high-quality screen-printed and embroidered products since 1998. I don't know if we can get better racing in our 2A and 2B heats today, Tate Meyer, but we're certainly going to give it a try. First up, though, let's have the draw for our heats 2A and 2B. And doing the honors today, again, no stranger to H1 Unlimited hydroplane racing fans. He is our 2019 H1 Unlimited and H1 Virtual Columbia Cup champion. He is J. Michael Kelly, along with his wife, Angela.
1, go. Okay, we're doing the heat draws for 2A and 2B. 2A, 3. 2B, 98. 2A, 12. 2B, 1. 2A, 8. 2B, 6. 2A, 9. 2B, 48. 2A, 440. 2B, 7. 2A, 91. And 2B, gonna be 11. And that is your heat draw.
Brad, we got a strong heat draw this next heat coming up in Heat 2A. The 8 and the 9 in the same heat, along with the 12 again. Should be a good rematch here. We'll throw in the 91 in the top qualifier there, and then the 98 and the 1 drawing each other in the same heat again. So should be some high competition here in the second set of heats. But let's go recap our Heat 1A and 1B results 1 second so we can catch our fans up on where everybody finished. So we got Bucket List Racing with number 1, 400. Matt Johnson, 300. Bucket List Racing 2 in third place. Mickey Washburn and Kelsey Best, 4th and 5th. And then, unfortunately, Ben Dell DNF'd in the 11.
Ben Dowell was having a difficult time there in that heat. That was not his best. I'm sure he's glad to have that one out of the way early in our race day here. He got himself on an inside lane. We heard Eddie Canfouche talk about how that can be a difficult place to be. It proved to be that way for Ben Dowell. But we're ready to go for our 2A and 2B. As you said, we've got another fast draw. So let's get these boats in the water. Let's go racing. It is Heat 2A. It's the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. It is the virtual 2021 Columbia Cup from Tri-Cities, Washington.
Receiving a countdown from our chief referee, Jared Meyer. We're 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Heat 2A on the clock.
On the clock, and you see the boats coming off the trailers, dotting the water here. From high atop the pit tower, closest to you there, you see the U8 Strong Racing, Carson Kelly, young man out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. Now just going to come out behind him, and off to his left is going to be Strong Racing 2, the other entry. That's the U9. Nick Kish from Rochester Hills, Michigan will pilot that boat. The boats are coming out onto the water now and headed over to the backstretch. Let's take a look at the 6 boats in our 2A as you ride along board. On board with Quentin Miller driving the U12 from Graham Trucking. Quentin had a very good run in our first heat of the day. He's 26 years old. Lives in Mercer Island, Washington. Interesting note about Quentin Miller, he is a professional bowler. He's also pretty darn good at driving a virtual hydroplane. Quentin Miller driving the 12, the Graham Trucking. Looking here at the U9 Strong Racing number 2, this is Nick Kish, the 32-year-old out of Rochester Hills, Michigan. Had a tough heat the first one of the day. He'll look to do better here in Heat 2A. Nick Kish driving Strong Racing U9. Here we are with our top qualifier for the day, Tim Johnson driving the U91, the black and gold Goodman Real Estate. Tim Johnson from Pasco, Washington. Young man is a mechanical engineer at Bechtel. Also spends time on the weekend driving fast race boats. We all know this one, Go 3 Racing, the Briggs Ace Hardware. The U3, the only piston-powered boat in our field. TJ Zerwinski out of Tonawanda, New York, handles the driving duties. The U3, Griggs Ace Hardware, always a favorite in the Tri-Cities. Here we are on board with the young man Carson Kelly out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. He'll handle the driving chores for Strong Racing's U8. The boat is silver and red. Carson Kelly, he's a rookie, but you never know it if you watch him on the race course. The kid can handle his race boat. The 440 Bucket List Racing 2, Bo Rarick out of Monroe, Washington. Bo was our winner in Guntersville, Alabama in rather spectacular fashion. But he was a winner down there. He'd love to do it again here in the Tri-Cities, Washington. Bo Rarick driving the 440 Bucket List 2. That's our field. That's our field. That was all 6 of them. That's not a problem there for Quentin Miller. That is by design to have that 12 sitting there quietly in the water as you see Nick Kish go around him. We are 2 minutes and 10 seconds away from our start. I really like that little tail fin on the back of the cowling there on the U9 that Nick Kish is driving.
Yeah, it provides maybe a little bit of extra aerodynamic advantage. We don't know. We don't know why these teams put these things on their boats. We got 2 boats crossing each other from front stretch to back stretch and back stretch to front stretch. That's Tim Johnson and then Nick Kish saying hi to each other in the infield, Brad.
Yeah, let the games begin. So we are definitely seeing some different starting procedures today than we have in the past, thanks to the changes that have been made to the game. But there are still those who are going to go down there and park in lane 1, as we see Quentin Miller has done. Now we see the 9 Strong Racing and Nick Kish go down just past him. Nick has already passed the entrance buoy. He may be too early. He may be vacating the area. Here comes TJ Zerwinski in the Go 3 Racing. The U3 piston powered. Coming up on 10 seconds, Tate. Going to be close at that 1 minute buoy.
It is going to be close. I think Nick Kish might be a little bit too early up there in the turn. Quentin Miller should have an easy time going around him and reclaiming lane number 1, Brad. Should have a very, very clean score up here as well. If we go to the chopper cam and see our distances between boats, see if anybody has overlap. Quentin Miller is very close to having overlap over Nick Kish. He's got it now. He can move over anytime he wants once he's outside of that rooster tail distance. And I think everybody else is going to have overlap on Nick Kish too. Nick Kish is going to have to find a lane up there. Maybe he'll take lane number 3 right there, right in front of TJ Zerwinski.
Yeah, I thought Zerwinski was going to pull in and get right on the hip of Bo Rarick, and that was going to force Zerwinski out even wider. That was a tough spot for Zerwinski. I think he's fortunate to come out of there in lane number 3. But it is Quentin Miller. He is in lane number 1. Bo Rarick is going to be in 2. That's going to be Nick Kish in 3. As we mentioned, Zerwinski's going to be in 4. We are inside 10 seconds to the start. We're inside 5, and in fact, we are 3, 2 seconds, 1 second, mark, and we are racing here in Heat 2A. The start seems to be extremely clean. A lot of speed on the outside for Tim Johnson, but he's way on the outside with a lot of speed off to his left, and getting down here first once again, it's going to be Quentin Miller. He said earlier he wasn't too sure that's where he wanted to be on the race course, but he is there. But he also checked the box. He made sure, Tate Meyer, he got down there first.
Made sure you got the turn 1 first. That's your number 1 goal if you claim lane 1 here at Unlimited Hydroplane Racing, or any form of hydroplane racing for that matter. Looks like Tim Johnson's going to pull up alongside Bo Rarick in the 440. He might have a taller gear and bigger prop setup, but Quentin Miller's going to get to turn 2 first as well, Brad, in lane 1. We'll see how they fan out up here. Deck to deck for second place between Bo Rarick and Tim Johnson as they hit the exit pin. But it's Quentin Miller ahead by a rooster tail. We'll see if Tim or Bo can do anything from the outside.
Coming down to put 1 in the books, it is Quentin Miller. Keep an eye on Tim Johnson. If he's able to clear Bo Rarick, he is showing an incredible amount of top-end shoot speed, especially on the backstretch. If he comes off this lower corner with a lot of RPM and momentum, he might be able to clear Bo, move over, and really take a swing at our leader. But right now, that leader is Quentin Miller. He slides out to about lane 2 or 3, and up the backstretch, you see the racing behind him. It is very good. But Tim Johnson seems to have put himself solidly now into second place. He's flying the boat down the backstretch. I think he's going to try and run him down. It's going to be a tall order, Tate Meyer, but he's got a lot of shoot speed.
He does have a lot of shoot speed on the outside. He's got a lot of top end in his boat. We'll see if he comes over into lane 2 and maybe cuts Bo Rarig's lane off. No, he doesn't. He stays in lane 3, so he might be settling for second place and just battling Bo Rarig and getting in those points. We'll see if he starts to mount a serious challenge against Quentin Miller as they hit the final lap. Quentin Miller still with the rooster tail lead.
2 up, 2 down, and 1 to go. And it is all Quentin Miller. I would expect now Tim Johnson. And you're right, he's been hanging out there in lane number 3, making sure he's driving clean. Now he's pretty much moved into the lane just outside Quentin Miller. They are out of the first corner, out of the lower end of the race course here on the final lap. Up the backstretch, I suspect Tim Johnson to let our leader go, and if he does, Quentin Miller is going to be off to a very, very good start on the day. This would be his second first place finish and 800 points. Boat looks beautiful at the top end of the race course. It is the U12 Graham Trucking. It's Quentin Miller, young man out of Mercer Island, and man, is he handling his race boat. Bring him across the finish line, Tate.
Quentin Miller, back-to-back heat winner in Heat 2A and 1A as he crosses the finish line. Tim Johnson finishes in second in the U91. Goodman Real Estate. Bo Rarig in the 440 Bucket List Racing 2 will finish in third place. We'll go back to Carson Kelly in the U8 Strong Racing 1. He'll cross in fourth place, and exiting turn 2 now is his teammate Nick Kish in the U9 Strong Racing 2 as he gets to the start-finish line and crosses down, making his finish official. And then TJ Serwinski in the U3 Briggs Ace Hardware will finish in sixth place. We got Tim Johnson up here in the booth. Tim, you had an outside lane here in lane 3. You tried to run down Quentin Miller. You got Bo Rarig, but maybe it was just a little too tall of an order to run down Quentin that heat.
Yeah, he's definitely got his setup squared away and inside, so he's going to be a tough one to catch, but you know, I'm feeling pretty confident with the top qualifying speed and just the speed that I've been able to get from the outside. That I think if I hit a better start, I should be able to run him down next time.
Well, we thought maybe you were going to get him in that heat, but again, it is just a preliminary heat. Nothing to worry about with 300 points. You've got to get yourself in that final heat before you can win the whole thing. I think overall you've got to be very pleased.
Yeah, I have had a lackluster performance in the first 2 races, so really happy to be getting some points to put myself in a position to compete for the Columbia Cup title and get some more points.
Well, congratulations. It was a good heat. It was exciting from where we were watching and calling. Go take a break. You got another set of prelims to run before we get to the big stuff. So good job.
Thank you. I just want to give a big shout out to the Miss Madison team and the citizens of Madison, Indiana, and Goodman Real Estate for giving me this opportunity. I just can't thank them enough. And then also Washington Angels Foster Care, Jesse Stitches, Atomic Screen Printing, and the APBA for putting on this E-League and allowing us this opportunity. It's really just a dream come true.
Thanks, Tim. Much appreciated. The H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series, as Tim just alluded to, is brought to you in part by Spokane Angels and their 3 locations in Washington State, in Seattle, Olympia, and Spokane. Spokane Angels, where they wrap community around children, youth, and families experiencing foster care. And by Jesse's Stitches, custom embroidery and more in Snohomish, Washington since 1990. Been good racing, Tate Meyer. I'm ready to get some more of it going, and we've got Heat 2B on deck. I'm ready if you are. Put us on a clock.
We'll look down to our chief referee, Jared Meyer, as he's putting drivers in boats and boats in the water. We got Eddie Canfouche and Matt Johnson in the same heat again, Brad. This should be another good one. 5.
It should
4,
be a good
3, 2, 1. Mark. Heat 2B.
Heat 2B is ready to go here. As you just heard Tate Meyer allude, we've got some fast boats in this one. We've got fast boats that have already been paired together and put on a good show. We look for them to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. H1 Unlimited E-League hydroplanes coming away from the water. First boat away from the dock was Ben Dowell driving the 11 J&Ds. But let's go on board with our 6 combatants here in our Heat 2B. And We'll start with our winner 2 weeks ago from Madison, Indiana, driving the U6, the powder blue and white Miss Home Street. It is Kelsey Best. Joining Kelsey in our Heat 2B will be Ben Dowell in the U11, the Chartreuse Carnival Orange J&D's hydroplane. Ben Dowell resides in Nashville, Tennessee, previously from Tacoma, Washington, and you see him slowing down as he approaches the entrance pin to turn 1. Eddie Canfouche here is a fierce competitor, our defending national high points champion, our winner in his earlier heat today, the U1, the black and orange bucket list racing. It is 18-year-old Eddie Canfouche out of Grand Island, New York. On board now with the U7 Boitano Home Spirit of Detroit hydroplane. It is driven by Scott Przybylski, the 35-year-old out of San Diego, California. We say it all the time, but we can't give him enough credit. He is HydroSim's game creator, and what a game it is. It gets better literally every time we see and have a race. Scott Przybylski, the predominantly red Boitano Homes Spirit of Detroit. Up the backstretch there, you'll see the U48 Lake Ridge Paving. The boat is driven by Mickey Washburn out of Pasco, Washington. He's 42 years old. The boat is predominantly white. It has the black checkerboard scheme on the fairings there that you see. I personally had the good fortune of meeting Mickey Washburn last week. I had not met him before. Fine young man out of the Tri-Cities, Mickey Washburn, in the Lake Ridge Paving. The red, white, and blue, the Graham Trucking American Dream, Matt Johnson. This boat is a quick one. The 30-year-old is out of Port Angeles, Washington. The boat is numbered 98. It's red, white, and blue. If you've got a patriotic bone in your body, this is the boat you want to root for. Stars and Stripes, U98 Graham Trucking American Dream, Matt Johnson. Our start procedure is underway. Now, if you think you can get close together, how about that, Tate Meyer? Can't get them much tighter than that.
Can't get much tighter in the U11 J&Ds with Ben Dowell. He's right on the rudder of the U6 Miss Home Street with Kelsey Best. Now, it looks like they're both stopped, and there's no current in this game as is built right now. So there's no current on the river taking these boats down towards the Cable Bridge and Clover Island down to Wallula. But there is the wind coming up the backstretch, as it is in real life, from turn 2 down towards the Blue Bridge. So that is what they have to contend with in this game. You see Scott Przybylski coming up into the entrance pin with 25 seconds. And again, here's Eddie Canfouche kind of timing his start. Maybe he's trying for lane 1. Maybe in this heat as well, he's trying for lane 2 or 3. As he said, lane 1's probably not the best place to be with his setup. But here we go. We're 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. It should be an extra clean start here. Kelsey Best in lane 1. Ben Dowell in lane 2. We'll see if Ben Dowell has enough horsepower to get around Kelsey into lane 1. We'll see if he wants it. Looks like he's got enough overlap, Brad. We'll see if he comes over into lane number 1. Eddie and Matt battling for lanes 3 and 4 and 5 out there with Scott Przybylski. But it looks like we're going to have Ben Dowell in lane 1 and Scott Przybylski in lane 2.
Yeah, that was an interesting move by Ben Dowell up the backstretch. I wasn't sure he was going to dive to the left and take lane 1. He did. He struggled in there in his first heat of the day. I wasn't sure he was going to dive in there and take it, but he did. So Ben Dowell is, look at these guys coming off the corner here with 15 seconds until the start. It is Ben Dowell in lane number 1. Przybylski is in 2. Canfouche is in 3. We're inside 10 seconds to the start. This is going to be a gorgeous start. We are coming up on 3 seconds. 2 seconds, 1 mark. And Ben Dowell was right on the line in lane number 1 in boat speed. Last time he had lane 1, Tate, he got down to that first corner late, and it was problematic for the entire heat. This time he's down there first. Let's see how he gets through.
See how he gets through. Oh, it looks like Scott Przybylski gets into Kelsey's rooster tail, or Kelsey in front of Kelsey Best, and Kelsey Best is over. That's going to be under review. But as Ben Dowell and Eddie Canfouche go up the backstretch in the U11 and the U1, Ben Dowell has the inside lane, and Eddie Canfouche maybe put that taller gear and that bigger prop. There's Mickey Washburn on the outside in lane 3 and 4. Let's see how they navigate this turn 2, Brad.
Top end of the race course on the first of 3 times around. This is a dandy. This time it is Ben Dowell handling lane number 1 beautifully, keeping fast Eddie Canfouche on his right hip and keeping him in his right side rear view mirror. We know Washburn is back there in third. This is going to be some good racing as they come down and put 1 in the books. 2 more laps to go, as we like to say. Get over these 2 guys when they get down to this lower corner. Canfouche with a lot of speed on the outside, and he's going to get down to the corner, literally dead even. I thought Eddie was going to have maybe a little bit of a lead, but they were tied together with a rope. You couldn't have had any closer boats in the entrance pin to that corner. Up the backstretch, we'll see if Eddie can get some shoot speed and top end. Looks like he's showing some, Tate.
He's showing some, Brad. Looks like Eddie Canfouche has about a half a rooster tail lead on Ben Dowell. Let's see if Ben Dowell can get back that lead here in turn number 2, as he has the inside lane on Eddie and the quicker, shorter way around that turn as they hit the exit pin. Looks like Eddie Canfouche is about deck to deck with Ben Dowell, but look at the acceleration out of Eddie Canfouche's boat. Just a little bit more as they hit the start-finish line to start the final lap. Eddie Canfouche leads.
Yeah, he does, but it is not by very much. Ben Dowell, he's not going to go away. He wants some points here. He wants a bunch of them. He's going to hold that line through the corner. It's tight in there, but Canfouche is leaving him a lane. He's got to leave 30 feet. Giving him some more, so Dowell was able to come through the corner clean. Now it's a run down the backstretch on the 3rd and final time around the race course. There you see Eddie Canfouche flying the boat, still holding on to about a half a rooster tail lead. This top end corner here on lap number 3 is going to determine the winner of our Heat 2B. Can Dowell make up the time on the inside lane? Canfouche with a lot of speed off the corner. Tate Meyer put him to the finish line.
Canfouche is looks like he's gonna take the heat here. Ben Dowell might finish in second. The first turn is still under review. We'll see, but he finishes second on the water. Eddie Canfouche with a great drive around Ben Dowell in the U11 right there, Brad. What a great drive from the young man out of Grand Island, New York. Here comes Matt Johnson in the U98. Here comes the U48, Lake Ridge Paving with Mickey Washburn. He'll finish in 4th on the water. U7, Scott Przybylski, Spirit of Detroit Botano Homes, will finish in 5th. And unfortunately, Kelsey Best got wrapped up in that turn 1 incident, Brad, and he did not finish the heat. Now, the officials are still going over the turn 1 incident. We will pause here and we'll confer with the officials, hopefully to have a decision here soon, and have our official results here before we go to our next flight of heats.
Yeah, that's a tough break right there for Kelsey. In 1B to come out of that one did not finish. The great day that he had in Madison, Indiana just 2 weeks ago is not, at least so far, repeating itself here on the Columbia River. We will wait for the word from the officials on how we will finally score our E2B.
All right, Brad. Looks like we have a official ruling from the Turn 1 incident. Looks like, unfortunately, Scott Przybylski is going to get the penalty for in going into Kelsey Best's lane. But we got Ben Dowell up here in the announcer's booth. Ben, what a run there in lane 2, or lane 1, I should say.
Yeah, thanks, Tate. First off, I want to start by thanking Wes at J&D's for letting me give me the opportunity to drive his boat. Jesse Stitches, Atomic Screen Printing, and Angels Foster Care. I also want to thank Jamie Nielsen for spotting for me for this event and the previous event.
Yeah, it looked like you had you got to lane 1, got in lane 1 and got to turn 1 first, which is key. Eddie Canfuch had a little bit of more top end there in lane 2. He said in the end of heat 1 in our interview that he had a little bit taller gear and didn't want to be in lane 1. What was your strategy there heading into that heat?
You know, the first heat didn't go the way I wanted to go. My setup was a little off for lane 1. There's a lot going on in this game now, so setups are, kind of crucial. So I went back and did a little tuning of the boat to set it up for lane 1. It looks like I have a little more work to do to keep Eddie behind me, but he's fast. He's got a good setup for it, and I thought I could push him out a little bit to keep him out there, but by the time I could push him out, he was already deck to deck with me. So at that point, it's just a drag race.
Yeah, he's got some taller gears in that boat, but as long as you get lane 1, you got a good shot. Congrats on the second place. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks.
All right, Brad, we'll go to our heat draws for heat 3A and 3B. We have our U9 Strong Racing driver in the 2021 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing season, Corey Peabody, and his daughter, Layton.
Yep, go ahead.
Hey guys, Corey here at the Strong Racing World headquarters here in Auburn, Washington. We're going to do the heat draws for heat 3A and 3B. So first boat for 3A is going to be the 12. 3B is the 3. 3A, the 48. B, the 6. A, the 7. B, the 9. A, the 11. B, the 1. A, the 98. B, the 91. A is the 8. And finally, B, the 440. So what we have going on here is in 3A, we have the 12, the 48, the 7, the 11, the 98, and the 8. In 3B, we have the 3, the 6, the 9, the 1, the 91, and the 440. Good luck, guys.
Three A of the 2021 H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series, brought to you in part by Spokane Angels Foster Care, locations in Spokane, Seattle, and Olympia. Spokane Angels, where they wrap community around children, youth, and families experiencing foster care. And by Atomic Screen Printing and Embroidery, a leading Northwest producer of high-quality screen-printed and embroidered products since 1998. Tate Meyer, we enter our third set of preliminary heats here at the 2021 Virtual Columbia Cup. This is the last opportunity for our teams to earn points and find their way into that winner-take-all final later on.
Yeah, we got some pretty interesting heat draws here. We got the 8 and the 12 in the same heat. We got the 12 and the 98 in the same heat. All the boats that have been fast so far, along with the 11 J&Ds. And Scott Przybylski is going to be looking for more points after his unfortunate DSQ in Heat 2. In Heat 3B, we got Eddie Canfouche up against our top qualifier with Tim Johnson, the U91, Miss Goodman Real Estate. We've got some strong heat draws here as we hit Heat 3A and 3B. Now, if we look to the right-hand side of our screen, we got Eddie Canfouche and Quentin Miller topping the point totals on the day so far with 860 and 830 respectively. And then we go down to Tim Johnson with 625, Matt Johnson, his brother, with 565, and Bo Rarig with 500 points as we head into this final flight of heats. A lot of points up for grabs, Brad, but unlike last week in Madison, we have 6 boats in each heat, so it's going to be harder to grab those high point totals that you need to get in that final.
Which means you're going to have to drive extra hard if you're one of those boats on the bubble. Everybody's still got to swing to get into that final, but it's going to be what you can do on the race course, and sometimes you need a little help from the other teams and maybe somebody else's misfortune. But that's why we put them on the water, and that's why we race them. So I'm ready if you are, Tate Meyer. Let's get on the clock for our Heat 3A of the 2021 Virtual Columbia Cup.
Yeah, we're waiting here to get our boats in the water, drivers in the cockpit, and get ourselves on the clock for Heat 3A. And just like you said before Heat 2B, Brad, Scott Przybylski's progress on this game and creating the visuals of what we would see sitting atop that pit tower as the boats come out on the water is just fantastic.
Yeah, and speaking of that pit tower, I noticed when we had that view a couple of times, I saw a couple of familiar faces, one atop that tower, one at the bottom. I believe that was you at the bottom of the tower and Brother Jared up on top. Very, very cool indeed. I even see Bernie's tree there. Look at that right at the end of the pit area. That's a great looking sight.
It's a great looking sight. I'm so glad it's represented so accurately in this game, being selfishly from Tri-Cities. I'd like to see the Tri-Cities, represented proudly, and he represents every race site we go to very, very well on this game. And I think in this Heat 3 coming up, we got some more strategy at play as the drivers put in different setups to try to combat each other's different strategies. But we should see some trolling out of the 12 and the 8 maybe, but the others are wild cards. If we go on the clock here for Heat 3A with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark.
Heat 3A of the 2021 H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series. We are coming to you live from the Tri-Cities of Washington and the Columbia River. It is a beautiful day here, as you can see on your screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the view from atop the pit tower. One of the great views in all of hydroplane racing across the circuit is when 6 and sometimes even 7 H1 Unlimited hydroplanes come away from that pit area, the Blue Bridge. In the background, all 6 boats were in the water, all 6 boats are on the race course, and you are on board right now. We talked about the game's creator, Scott Przybylski. He is behind the wheel of the U7 Boitano Homes Spirit of Detroit. The boat is predominantly red. It is trimmed in blue and white. Scott Przybylski, the 35-year-old behind the wheel. Good-looking shot of the 7. There's Mickey Washburn. Mickey is driving the predominantly white U48, the Lake Ridge Paving. Mickey, 42 years old, out of Pasco, Washington. This boat's easy to spot on the race course. It sticks out quite predominantly being all white, but also there is the black and white checkerboard on the fairings or the tail assembly. The backstretch with Mickey. Boy, one of the boats to watch in this one, Matt Johnson. He's been quick. The Graham Trucking American Dream. It's the U98. Matt calls home to Port Angeles, Washington. He's 30 years of age. The boat is very, very fast. It is red, white, and blue. Matt Johnson, Graham Trucking American Dream. Look at the parking lot down there at the lower corner as we continue with our boat identifications here for our Heat 3A. You're on board now with one of the real quick ones. This is the Graham Trucking, the U12, predominantly red boat again, but this one's trimmed in black and silver. Quentin Miller does the driving out of Mercer Island, Washington. Graham Trucking U12, and he decided to vacate the lower corner, come back up the race course, and will now cut his way back over to the front side of the race course, a legal maneuver, and get himself into position. On board right now with Ben Dowell. We were just speaking with Ben, driving the U11, the J&Ds. The young man here needs some points. He's got himself down there shut off out in front of everybody, sitting in lane 1. He clearly wants lane 1 for this heat. He had trouble in it the first heat of the day, had great success the second time. He needs a good run here, the young man out of Nashville, Tennessee. On board now with the U8, Carson Kelly, young man out of Bonnie Lake, Washington, driving for Strong Racing. Strong Racing, the U8, Carson Kelly would like to have a big score right here. He'd like 400 big points. Coming up on 2 minutes until the start. 2 minutes. So those guys are going to have to kill another 60 seconds. As you see, Ben Dowell and Carson Kelly, they're just sitting down there like we saw in the previous heat, Tate Meyer. They're not going anywhere.
Doesn't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon as the boats come around turn number 1. Maybe try to pull them up a little bit too far and pull them off their marks, but they are just sitting trolling for salmon up here in the Columbia River. So we see Mickey Washburn come up the front straight away. He probably will not cut again. Looks like he's committed to whatever strategy he wants to do as he crosses the start-finish line with 23 seconds left. We'll go out to the helicopter. Nobody else joining the 2 down in turn number 1. Brad, it's going to be all, oh, look at these boats crossing the start-finish line at the same time with 12 and 10 and 10 seconds left. Looks like we're going to have a big fight for lane number 1 up the backstretch.
And it looks like we're going to have a couple of boats perhaps tardy at the 1 minute mark. And there we go. Off. We'll get the word from the officials whether or not it was
Looks
clean.
like Ben Dowell was over. Looks like Ben Dowell was over.
He definitely was over. He cut the course, and he'll go back and rescore on that 1 minute, which puts Carson Kelly all by himself up at the top end of the race course, and he is able to not get up there too early because he didn't have to worry about protecting his inside lane because nobody was with him. With 20 seconds literally to the 1 minute mark, you had 3 boats crossing the start-finish line, Tate. They were way late. Look at Quentin Miller. He said, oh boy, now I've got to move out to lane number 4. This is an interesting lineup for our Heat 3A.
What an interesting lineup. Scott Przybylski's got a ton of speed on the outside. Let's see what lane Ben Dowell picks as he comes up. He might be late. He probably is going to be in lane 5, Brad, as they hit the score up, hit the exit pin with 4 seconds.
2 seconds, 1. Mark and Przybylski with a ton of speed on the outside just comes flying across, but he's way on the outside. He's got a lead on everybody. He can certainly move to the left and pick up a couple of lanes. Now we'll see what kind of a lead. He's got a full rooster tail and moves himself straight over to the inside lane. Oh, and we're going to lose Matt Johnson in the lower corner. The boat got away from him. He flew high into the air. But what a first turn for our game creator, Scott Przybylski. He was on the far outside. He had a carload of boat speed at the start. He was able to move in front of the entire field at the entrance pin to turn 1. He's got well more than a rooster tail here up the backstretch on lap number 1 of 3.
He had a full rooster tail before the entrance pin of turn 1. Just amazing speed and a great start as he hits the end of lap 1. Now we got Carson Kelly and Quentin Miller here as they finish up their lap 1. They're deck to deck for second place as they come across the start finish line. But again, it's Scott Przybylski already into turn 1, Brad.
Yeah, Przybylski has shown a clinic here on how to start on the outside, but the other guys were just late. He hit it with a bunch of boat speed, but everybody else was tardy, and I'm sure if you talk to these other drivers, specifically Carson Kelly and Quentin Miller, they're going to tell you if they're going to have a bad start, let's have it in the prelim and not in the final. Halfway through our Heat 3A up the backstretch on lap 2 of 3, the racing is for second place, and it is between Quentin Miller and Carson Kelly. Kelly's on the inside flying the boat. Miller's got a lot of speed on the outside. We'll see how they find their way through the top end of the race course here. It is lap 2 of 3, so they got one more to go. Kelly with that inside lane is going to be able to come off with about a 2-boat length lead, but now look at the speed that Quentin Miller is able to bring off of the exit pin. They're going to come down virtually side by side here, Tate. Dead even for second place. Our leaders way out in front.
Yeah, our leaders are all the way to the entrance pin of turn 1, Brad, at the Blue Bridge turn. He's got multiple rooster tail lead over the rest of the field, a full turn at least over the rest of the field. It looks like Carson Kelly gets to turn 1 first, just inside of Quentin Miller. We'll see what kind of setup and what kind of boat ride Quentin Miller has as he swings a little bit wide, maybe keeps the RPMs up over Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly keeping it tight to the pins. We'll see how the acceleration off of the final turn on the final lap here, who it gives the advantage to, Brad, as Scott Przybylski comes off the final turn, the final lap, to collect his heat win.
He will come down and pick up 400 points. He's led it from wire to wire, but the race everybody's watching is this one for second place here. It is the young man, Carson Kelly, on the inside. He really needs the 300 points. Quentin Miller would love to keep him behind the 300 points, but he couldn't do it. Very, very, very close. You saw Kelly cross the start-finish line just a boat length or so ahead of Quentin Miller. Ben Dowell comes around. He will get scored, finishing just in front of Mickey Washburn. 5 or 6 boats started. 5 boats will finish. Unfortunately, we lost Matt Johnson down at the lower end of the race course on lap number 1. Man, that was good racing again, but it's pretty rare that you will see a dominant start to that effect in one of our H1 Unlimited E-League Racing Series heats of competition. But boy, oh boy, did Scott Przybylski lay a start on him.
He laid a tremendous start on him, Scott. You wired it from lane 6 and had a ton of boat speed as they hit the first turn. Your strategy probably, I would assume, worked for that heat.
It definitely did. I wasn't expecting that to work that well. For yeah, trying to get lane 1 and 2 wasn't working for me earlier, so I just threw the qualifying setup on the boat and just tried to wire it, and it paid off.
Well, Scott, I don't know that I have seen a heat in the short time I've been working with you guys and having some fun announcing these races. I'm not sure I've seen a heat where somebody had a full rooster tail from the outside lane into that first corner and able to just tie them all up and head into lane number 1. It didn't hurt that those guys were a few ticks late.
Yeah, they were a little bit late, and that's all it was. Yeah, I did not expect to have overlap by the first turn. That's for sure.
Well, you did. You picked up the points. It's a great heat. Congratulations on that. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to say thank you on behalf of all the fans that are watching this and all of you guys that drive. The updates that you have put in this game, this is absolutely outstanding. Thank you and congratulations, Scott. Great job.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks to all our sponsors for supporting us: Angels Foster Care of Washington, Jesse Stitches, and the APBA. Thanks for your support, guys.
Well, thank you, and you make my job easy when you talk about our sponsors like that. Scott Przybylski, we'll go total up the points and see where everybody stands, but right now it's time to get ready for our Heat 3B. This will be our final preliminary heat before we have a consolation heat and then our final. But first up, Heat 3B. Tate Meyer, put us on a clock.
Before we go on the clock, Brad, we got to settle our finishing order for Heat 3A. It looks like we got some no call. No call. They finish as they do on the water. So unfortunately, Matt Johnson has a DNF in that heat. That's going to hurt him a lot as he heads into the final. But the good thing is he had a good point total heading into his Heat 3A. As we gear up for Heat 3B, our last opportunity to score points to get into the final, we'll check our point totals. It looks like Quentin Miller is going to be safely in the final with 1,055 points. Eddie Canfouche with 860. He is sitting still in second place. And again, you see Matt Johnson down there with 509. That DNF's going to hurt him. He might have to win his way into the provisional in order to get into the final heat. So for Eddie, TJ, Kelsey, Nick, Tim, and Bo, TJ looks like he's going to have to fight through the Connie as well as Nick Kish. In the final now, as you can see, those going in are Quentin Miller and Eddie Canfu. So it'll be interesting to see what Eddie Canfu does in terms of strategy with him and Carson and Quentin locked into the final heat.
And you see Carson, as you just mentioned, locked into the final heat. Those 300 points that he picked up in our previous heat 3A did not hurt at all. He may have made it in with a 225 for third. Didn't want to take the chance. He fought for it and got a solid second place finish. And as you've got there on the screen, he is in the final heat. So let's find out who's going to join him. Looking up for heat 3B is our final preliminary heat, Tate.
Heat 3B, final preliminary heat of the day. We will run a provisional before the final. And the final being 5 laps. We'll change the time of day in game, make it as realistic. We'll get the sun glinting off of the paint schemes on these H1 Unlimited hydroplanes and give you the shot that you've been looking forward to getting for the last 2 years, Brad, on top of that pit tower down in Tri-Cities. But we are waiting for our countdown for Heat 3B. We are good to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Heat 3B is on the clock.
Heat 3B, it is the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. It is the 2021 Columbia Cup from Tri-Cities, Washington on the Columbia River. First boat away from the dock, there appears to be boat number 9, Strong Racing and Nick Kish, but now everybody's away from the dock. Looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we had all 6 moving away from the dock. Let's climb on board. Look at all 6 of our boats in Heat 3B as you ride along with the U3 Go 3 Racing, the Griggs Ace Hardware, the piston hydroplane that is always so popular on the H1 Unlimited circuit. It is predominantly red. It's got that piston engine. It's driven by TJ Zerwinski from Tonawanda, New York. The U3 Griggs Ace Hardware. Looking at the bucket list racing number 1 entry. Number 1 in a lot of ways. It is U1, meaning it is the defending National High Points champion, Eddie Canfouche behind the wheel. He came into the day leading our National High Points race through 2 races. We'll check at the end of the day and see how he looks, but he's had a good day so far. He's in the final. Eddie Canfouche out of Grand Island, New York, driving for the Stockland family. It is the U1 bucket list racing. The other bucket list entry, also bright orange, but this one not trimmed in the black, is driven by Bo Rarig out of Monroe, Washington. This is the U440. The boat is predominantly orange. As I mentioned, it does not have the black trim that Eddie Canfouche's boat does. And Bo Rarig, was our winner in Guntersville, Alabama, just 1 month ago. Bo Rarig, bucket list racing, on board now with Kelsey Best. Had a tough day today. A great day 2 weeks ago when they were the winner in Madison, Indiana, but a tougher day today. The U6, predominantly blue and white, Miss Home Street, Kelsey Best out of Mesa, Arizona. There is our Strong Racing entry. This is the U9, Strong Racing entry number 2, Nick Kish out of Rochester Hills, Michigan, one of our rookies. He's 32 years old. Nick will pilot Strong Racing 2, the U9. Good looking hydroplane there. Now you're on board with Tim Johnson. He came into the day our top qualifier. Young man out of Pasco, Washington, will pilot the black trimmed in gold U91 Goodman Real Estate. A lot of guys, as you mentioned, Tate Meyer, fighting for points in this one. I think that inside lane's going to be worth fighting for as well. We'll see what kind of a strategy these guys want to bring into this heat. It's the last preliminary. Tim Johnson driving a Goodman Real Estate. Good-looking hydroplane there, the U91.
Great-looking hydroplane paint scheme, a little bit of metallic gold. We'll see what that looks like in real life this upcoming H1 Unlimited season. But 50 seconds now, Brad, as the boats come crawling down to turn number 1. Looks like Kelsey Best is still parked in his place down here at that second buoy in the turn with 40 seconds left. Let's see where Eddie Canfouche goes. Now, he is locked into the final heat, so let's see how much of a fight he puts up for that lane 1. He did say earlier in the day that he doesn't really prefer lane 1. We'll see if Nick draws up Eddie here. Doesn't look like he will. He might go around, or he might park himself in front of Kelsey Best. We'll see how this goes down. 20 seconds. We'll see the rest of the field coming up. Bo Rarick tailing the field as he comes up to the 1 minute gun. Looks like Nick Kish is going to be too early to hold lane 1. 2-1 mark. Looks like a clean score up. We'll see if our officials see any differently. Here it is, clean score up. Kelsey Best maintains lane 1. Eddie Canfouche maintains lane 2. 45 seconds, Brad. Pretty mundane score up here up the backstretch for Heat 3B.
Yeah, but keep an eye on Nick Kish when they get to the top end of the race course. He, as you said, didn't have enough speed coming off the 1 minute buoy to hold lane 1, but I think he's going to find himself all the way out in lane number 4. The entire field was able to move across on him pretty much. So up to the top end of the race course, the recipient of all of that good news was Kelsey Best in MS Home Street. He will be in lane number 1. Then it's going to be Eddie Canfouche in lane 2. Lane 3 is going to go to Bo Rarick. It's going to be Tim Johnson who found his way into lane number 4, inside 10 seconds coming down to the start. This is going to be a very close start at the start-finish line. We are 2 seconds, 1 mark, and we are racing here in our final preliminary heat. It is Heat 3B. Kelsey Best has a good start. He's going to get down to the corner here in first place, or at least awfully close to it. On the outside, it's going to be Tim Johnson in the Goodman Real Estate, but he's got a lot of speed and a lot of orange off to his left. Kelsey Best is going to get to the exit pin first. He's in lane number 1. That's critical, as we know, Tate. It's great to have that lane, but you got to get down to that corner first. He did, but boy, has he got company up the backstretch. Look at Goodman Real Estate on the outside. Tim Johnson flying that gold and black hydroplane. This one's a dandy, and I'll tell you what, Canfouche is not pulling his foot. He's in a national high points race. He wants 400 big ones, Tate.
It's Miss Madison versus Bucket List Racing here in Heat 3B of our Columbia Cup in 2021. Looks like Kelsey Best is going to hang on to the lead temporarily, but Eddie Canfouche might have that top-end speed to pass him as they finish lap number 1. He does. Tim Johnson and Bo Rarick still hanging on to lanes 3 and 4 in positions 3 and 4 as Eddie Canfouche might squeak his way first into turn 1, Brad, as they start lap number 2.
Yeah, he got down to the lower corner first. He's leaving enough room there for Kelsey Best, and Kelsey is able to parlay that inside lane into about a boat length lead when they got to the exit pin down in the corner. I liked what you called there with Miss Madison Racing versus Bucket List Racing, because those are your first 4 boats. The 2 boats that are owned by the citizens of Madison, Indiana, and then Kelly and Sharon Stockland's bright orange hydroplanes. And up the backstretch, again, it is Eddie Canfouche getting to the top end of the race course first. But look at the inside lane. Kelsey Best is driving the daylights out of that powder blue Miss Home Street. This is a good one, and they're going to come down and put lap 2 of 3 in the books. These 400 points for Eddie Canfouche, they are worth fighting for. Maybe not to get into the final, but as I mentioned, he is in the national high points race. He wants these 400 points.
He wants these 400 points to keep that U1 on Kelly and Sharon Stockland's boat for next season. Kelsey Best, let's see what type of turn he makes. Oh, Kelsey Best goes into Eddie Canfouche's rooster tail and unfortunately blows over. So we'll have to see what the referees see in that turn to see if there's any call on Eddie. But it looked like from our helicopter angle there, Brad, that Kelsey slipped out into Eddie's rooster tail. No call officially from the H1 Unlimited officials, as Eddie Canfouche rounds the final turn and collects 400 points. Tim Johnson and Bo Rarick following up. This is going to be the race to watch as they hit the start-finish line.
Yes, Eddie Canfouche picks up the first place finish. Second place is going to go to, and it's going to go to Tim Johnson. He is going to hold off Bo Rarick in the 440 to take second place. Tim Johnson will take second place. Too bad. Tough breakdown there for Kelsey Best, and you saw it the same way I did, apparently the same way the officials did, that there was nothing wrong down there in the corner. It looked to me like Eddie had left him certainly enough room to get through. He just couldn't hold his lane as Nick Kish comes across start-finish line in 4th place. The piston boat, the Griggs Ace Hardware U3 Go3 Racing TJ Zerwinski will come home in 5th place. And unfortunately for Kelsey Best, it just kind of sums up his day. It wasn't a good one for him. He will get the did not finish. So, Eddie Canfouche, he fought for those 400 points. He got them, Tate. I'm sure he's going to be a happy guy.
He's going to be a happy guy indeed, collecting that 400 points. Now, it's going to be interesting to hear from Eddie. Eddie, what did you see heading into turn one on that final lap? How did you see Kelsey in your rearview mirror?
I saw a blue boat pretty close in here, and not blue boat.
Hey, Eddie,
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you. This is Brad here. On your rear view mirrors, like on the right side, does your rear view mirror say objects in the mirror are closer than they appear? Because I don't know if he could have got much closer.
No, it was so close. That whole heat, I had Quinton in my ear again this time. I was out in lane 2. I knew I had the speed to get around Kelsey, but suddenly I'm seeing Tim shoot by in lane 4 in the gold boat. Like, that was an incredible heat. We were all so evenly matched, and it was just that must have been a ton of fun to watch because it was a ton of fun to drive in.
It was an awful lot of fun to watch, and as Tate and I kept talking during the heat, you didn't need the points to get into the final, but I know you want to keep that National High Points Championship. Those 400 points are worth fighting for.
Yeah, they are, especially Quinton, I think, is sitting in second. He's kind enough to spot for me, which is interesting, but he took a third in that last heat, so I knew I could gap him if I finished better than that, and I was ready to lay it out. I didn't need these points to make the final already, so worth a shot.
Well, it was a very competitive heat. It was indeed fun to watch. You're in the final heat. Go get yourself relaxed for a few minutes, take a break, watch our consolation heat, and then we'll look for you in the final. Congratulations. Nice run, Eddie.
Thank you very much, and thanks again to Washington Angels, Atomic Screen Printing, Jesse Stitches, and the APBA, and of course, thank you to you, Brad and Tate, for putting the stream on. You really enhanced the experience, and we couldn't do it without you.
Well, thank you very much. So, the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series is brought to you in part by the Spokane Angels, as Eddie Canfouche just mentioned. They have 3 locations in the state of Washington: in Spokane, Seattle, and Olympia. Spokane Angels, where it is their stated mission, is to walk alongside children, youth, and families in the foster care community by offering consistent support through intentional giving, relationship building, and mentorship. And by Jesse Stitches, custom embroidery and more in Snohomish, Washington since 1990. And also the fine folks at Atomic Screen Printing and Embroidery, a leading Northwest producer of high quality screen printed and embroidered products since 1998. As Eddie Canfouche just said, we can't race without our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Preliminary heats are in the book, Tate Meyer. And now we're starting to get toward the end of the day. We keep talking about it's all about getting your way into the final. I think we're just about ready to have our final field set so we can understand what that looks like short of our trailer boat, and we will figure that out in our consolation race.
Indeed we do, Brad. Here is our final field for the final and the provisional heat. In the final, we have the U1 Bucket List Racing 1 with Eddie Canfouche. We have the U7 Boitano Home. Scott Przybylski overcame that unfortunate DNF or DSQ in Heat 2B. U8 Carson Kelly, Strong Racing number 1. We have U12 Graham Trucking, Quentin Miller. U91 Goodman Real Estate, Tim Johnson. And U440 Bucket List Racing, Bo Rarick. That is your front line of the final. But contending here in the provisional heat to be the trailer boat in the final is the U3 Griggs Ace Hardware, U6 Miss Home Street, the U9 Strong Racing 2, the U11 J&Ds, U48 Lake Ridge Paving, U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. There's only one spot in the final, Brad, and that's the trailer position for the provisional heat.
And to remind our fans who may be watching this for the first time, if you are the trailer in our final heat, you must start 5 seconds behind the clock. So it is a difficult place to win from, but we're always obliged to say it that it has been done. So you can't win the final heat unless you're in it. If you come home in first place in our provisional race, which we are about to run, you will be that trailer hydroplane, and you will have an opportunity to chase the 2021 Virtual Columbia Cup.
Coming up on a countdown for the provisional heat in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark.
The provisional heat is up and running and on the clock. As the boats are coming off the trailer into the water, we will have 6 boats. You see them laying dockside, 4 of them there. You can't see the U3. It is pitted at a dock up to the right, and there you see the 48 of Mickey Washburn, the Lake Ridge Paving. First boat away from the dock is Matt Johnson driving the Graham Trucking American Dream. Tate Meyer, give me a hand here, and let's take a look at the 6 boats that'll be running in our provisional heat. 3 laps. The winner is the trailer boat in our winner-take-all final.
The winner is our trailer boat here as we ride on board with the 3.
With the U3, there it is, Go 3 Racing the Griggs. Ace Hardware, it is TJ Zerwinski out of Tonawanda, New York. He's a rookie this year. He's handled this boat very, very well. He will look to find his way in the final. Either way, the fans in the Tri-Cities will be rooting for piston power. TJ Zerwinski, U3. The Lake Ridge Paving, Mickey Washburn out of Pasco, Washington. It's a hometown for him. He'd love to get into the final heat here on his home waters. The 48 Lake Ridge Paving, predominantly white, and the black and white checkerboard on the tail fairings. Mickey Washburn from Pasco. On board now with the U9 Strong Racing 2. This is Nick Kish. Nick, 32 years of age, out of Rochester Hills, Michigan. Another one of our rookies, but he's getting stronger every week. The Strong Racing team ownership of Daryl and Vanessa Strong is located right here in the Tri-Cities. He'd love to have a good showing for them right here and make it into the final, albeit as a trailer boat. He'd like to have both of the boats in that final heat. Home Street, the Miss Home Street. There it is, the U6, the powder blue and white Kelsey Best, our winner 2 weeks ago in Madison, Indiana. He had a great day 2 weeks ago, not so much here today, but it would sure look a whole lot better to the ownership group and the fans in Madison, Indiana if Kelsey could score well here, win the heat, and find his way into the final. Kelsey, 33 years of age, out of Mesa, Arizona, originally from the Pacific Northwest. On board now with the U11 J&D's Ben Dowell. Had an up and down day today, but he's got himself here in the provisional heat with a chance to be the trailer in the final. Ben Dowell, originally from Tacoma, Washington, now calls home to Nashville, Tennessee, driving the U11, the J&D's. The red, white, and blue Graham Trucking American Dream, one of the quicker boats, and Matt can really make this one fly. Matt, as in Matt Johnson, he's the pilot of this one. Red, white, and blue. Matt out of Port Angeles, Washington, 30 years of age. He'd like to have a good showing here. As we mentioned at the outset, so many of the racing teams, owners, and drivers call home to the Pacific Northwest. Matt Johnson is no different. He would love to be in the final here on the Columbia River. Matt Johnson, the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. And that is our field. We see not much has changed down at the lower end of the race course. Tate Meyer, 30 seconds until our 1 minute gun, and we got a couple of them parked down there. Ben Dowell's down there and Kelsey Best. They've been sitting there for the better part of a minute.
They've been sitting there for the better part of a minute. You just heard Ben Dowell spool back up. He shut the boat off down there in turn number 1. So we'll see how the score up looks from our helicopter angle as we are 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mark. Looks clean to me, Brad. We'll wait for the officials to tell us if it was clean or not. Clean score up. Ben Dowell's got lane number 1, and he has no intentions of giving it up.
No, he is not going to give it up. The only person that may appear to move over might be TJ Zerwinski on the far outside, but he's only going to be able to move over one particular lane. I don't think he did. I think he's going to stay outside in lane number 6. Everybody else stayed pretty much solid and protected their position up the backstretch. 30 seconds at the entrance pin to the top end of the race course. Ben Dowell got himself in lane number 1. Kelsey Best has got himself in lane number 2. Those were the 2 boats that hung down there in the lower end of the race course and fought for that inside lane. They got it. Lane number 3 is going to go to Nick Kish, Strong Racing, the U9. Then outside of him, it's going to be the red, white, and blue, 98 Graham Trucking and Matt Johnson. Inside 10 seconds, now inside 5 seconds. Coming down the start-finish line, we are 2 seconds, 1 second. Mark And we are racing here in our provisional heat, and Ben Dowell with a good-looking start on the inside lane. We say over and over, you got to be on the inside and get down to the first turn first. He's going to be able to do it. Kelsey Best is right. Wait a minute. Kelsey couldn't hold it. Kelsey got into the rooster tail off of Ben Dowell. The boat went up and over. A tough day for Kelsey Best as he goes over again and up the backstretch. It is all Ben Dowell in the U11, the J&Ds. Tate, this guy did not start strong, but he is having a good day so far after that initial trouble in Heat 1A.
He had a good day so far, Brad, but unfortunately he's going to get the call for causing Kelsey Best to crash in turn number 1. He did not hold his lane in lane 1, so it's going to be Matt Johnson in the U98 in the lead of the provisional heat. Now, in our club racing that we do in the offseason, Brad, Matt Johnson has won from the trailer position before. So if he can keep this lead and he can win the provisional heat here, he's got as good a shot as anybody to capture the final heat here in the Columbia Cup final.
Well, and if he's done it before, you know darn well he's going to remember that. But first of all, he's got to get into that final heat. He's got to maintain right where he is on the race course. He is way out in front. Again, the chartreuse and orange boat that looks to be the leader on the right side of the screen. You're just not quite seeing the boat yet. You will just momentarily. There it is. Ben Dowell. He appears to be your leader. He is not. He has been called for an infraction in turn 1 on lap 1. Tough break for Ben. I thought he was going to be okay down there, but it didn't work out that way. So now it is just a matter of Matt Johnson staying to the outside of him, keeping the water clean out in front of him, watching his rearview mirrors, make sure nobody tries to sneak up on him. He's in a really good spot right now. Matt Johnson comes down to put 2 of 3 in the books. Second place, looks like Mickey Washburn driving the 48. That'll be the Lake Ridge Paving. He comes across start-finish line. There is the 9 you saw there. Nick Kish driving for Strong Racing comes down. He is in third place, and on the inside, he'll take a look at maybe catching up with Mickey Washburn. But right now, the boat to watch is a third of the way up the backstretch. Take him up the backstretch, Tate Meyer. He is our leader, Matt Johnson, Graham Trucking American Dream.
Matt Johnson didn't do anything wrong there in this heat whatsoever. He kept it on the water once he had a sizable lead over Mickey Washburn and took advantage of the unfortunate penalty on the U11 J&Ds with Ben Dowell. But Matt Johnson is going to punch his ticket into the final heat of the 2021 E-League Columbia Cup here in Tri-Cities, Washington. Matt Johnson, winner, provisional heat.
There he is across start-finish line, and he will take it. He will take it. Second place, we'll go to Mickey Washburn driving a 48, the Lake Ridge Paving. Good run for Mickey here on home waters. I believe that is Nick Kish in the Strong Racing 2 entry that is on the right side of the screen there, and he'll come down in third position as the boats will now pull their foot and head back to the Neil F. Lampson pit area. There is the Griggs Ace Hardware, TJ Zerwinski. He will come home in fourth place. So the boats go back to the pit area. An interesting provisional heat. Tough break in there for Ben Dowell, but Matt Johnson, he will take it. He's got a fast race boat, and as you said, he has won from that position before. He will be telling himself that as he gets into the final heat. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to get Matt up here in the broadcast booth if he has an opportunity to join us very quickly.
I think he's going to scramble to get a spotter for that final, Brad, so I don't think he's going to make it up here. But interesting final field we got for our 2021 H1 E-League Columbia Cup here in Tri-Cities. We got the 2 highest point getters on the day in Eddie Canfouche and Quentin Miller in the U1 and the U12. Scott Przbilski, who wired that outside start and got to lane 1, or got to turn 1 first and went over to lane 1 here in Heat 3A. We have some teammates in here. We have the U12 and the U98 both in the final, as well as the U1 and the U440 in the final as well. So I believe we are going to get right to the final heat here, Brad. If you have a couple final thoughts before we send the 7 H1 Unlimited hydroplanes out for the final heat, your favorite part of the season, I would assume.
It is. Everybody pretty much knows how much I enjoy that view from the top of that pit tower in a late afternoon sun on the Columbia River when 6 or 7 H1 Unlimiteds come away from the dock. You have to see it to believe it. That's pretty much I don't even know how that got started, but I started saying that a few years ago. It is just quite a sight. I'm ready to do it, whether it's virtual or it's real. Let's get these boats on the water. It's the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. It is our final heat. Tate Meyer, it is a winner take all final heat. And don't forget, we go 5 laps instead of 3. Winner take all final, 7 boats on the water. Let's go racing. I'm ready.
I am so ready at 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon in late July. You can't beat it in terms of how my brother and I have grown up here in the Tri-Cities. It's the best and worst time of the year, Brad, because it is the pinnacle of the weekend we wait for all year long, but it is unfortunately the end of the weekend that we wait all year for. So we get a countdown from our lead official, Jared Meyer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Final heat.
Final heat, and as we just said, we are going to go around 5 times. We've talked about points all day long. Winner take all final. Throw the points out the window for the purposes of this particular race. Obviously, they will count toward national high points, but as far as winning the virtual Columbia Cup for 2021 on the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series, you will get that title by finishing first in the final heat. Boats coming away from the dock, that site that I love so very well. Zooming right in there on Eddie Canfouche, and let's look at the 7 boats that are going to be running in our final heat. U1 Bucket List Racing, Eddie Canfouche, 18 years of age, out of Grand Island, New York, had a great day so far today, but it's not going to mean as much to him if he can't capture a first place in the final heat. Eddie Canfouche, U1 Bucket List Racing. There's his teammate right there, Bo Rarig, 28 years of age, out of Monroe, Washington. The boat is predominantly orange. It's the U440 Bucket List Racing 2. Bo Rarig was a winner at our first race of the season in Guntersville. Looking there at the
Brad,
strong...
we're going to have to interrupt you. We're going to need a restart here. We have a bit of a timing and scoring issue that we're unfortunately going to need to fix. So we're going to hold off here and re-rack our final heat.
So with that, we're going to call the boats back to the pit area, I believe.
Yes, we will call back our boats to the pit area, put them back on the trailer. Now, fortunately, they don't have to refuel or anything, and they can get back on the trailer pretty quickly. So this will be a quick reset here.
This will give me an opportunity to once again remind our fans while we get ready that H1 Unlimited is a proud club of the American Powerboat Association, the national authority for boat racing in the United States. The APBA is a member-driven organization established in 1903 and headquartered in East Point, Michigan. For more information on the American Powerboat Association, go to www.apba.org. Looks like our boats are coming away from the dock. We're inside 5 minutes, and this is one of those great sights there as everybody's coming out as a group. 7 H1 Unlimited E-League hydroplanes coming away from the dock. Great looking sight. Going to be a great final. Let's once again take an opportunity to run down the 7 boats. We'll start the same way we did last time. Eddie Canfouche had a great day of racing so far, driving the U1 Bucket List Racing. He is our defending national high points champion. He would love to keep it, but more so than that right now, he'd love to win the Columbia Cup, the virtual regatta here today. Eddie Canfouche, U1 Bucket List Racing. Looking for it. Nope, we're looking there at the U7 Boitano Homes, Spirit of Detroit, Scott Przybylski, 35 years of age, out of San Diego. Had an up and down day, but he's in the final. He's on the front row, so he is a happy guy, as are all of us, for the terrific game he has created. Scott Przybylski, predominantly red, Boitano Homes. There's the other bucket list racing entry. It's the U440 driven by Bo Rarig. Bo was a winner in Guntersville. He'd love to have a 1-2 finish for he and teammate Eddie Canfouche. Don't know if you noticed, but they were parked under Bernie's tree as having been winners there before. The 2 orange boats will be in the final. On board right there with the U8 Strong Racing, Carson Kelly, the young man out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. He's a rookie this year, but he can really handle his race boat. I'm looking for a big run out of Carson here in the final. He had the Guntersville Regatta won, but then an accident in the final corner cost him. He'd love to make up for it right here on the Columbia River. Carson Kelly driving the U8. The Graham Trucking, talk about a boat that has had a great day and a guy who can really handle it. The Graham Trucking U12, predominantly red, trimmed in black and silver. Quentin Miller out of Mercer Island behind the wheel. He would love to win here in the Tri-Cities as well. It was actually Quentin who is parked underneath Barney's tree, having won here prior. Out the top end of the race course here, Tim Johnson driving the U91, the Goodman Real Estate out of Pasco, Washington. Tim would love to win on home waters. He'd love to do it here because it's where he lives. He'd also love to win for the 13,000 people in the ownership group in Madison, Indiana. The boat is black and gold. It's Tim Johnson and the U91. The U98, the Graham Trucking American Dream. Matt Johnson out of Port Angeles, Washington, driving the patriotic red, white, and blue. The boat's got an awful lot of speed. Matt, unfortunately, is going to have to start 5 seconds behind the clock. And it's important that I say 5 seconds behind the clock and not 5 seconds behind the field. If everybody was to be very late, he could be right there with them. So 5 seconds behind the clock. A lot of boats parked down there in our first turn, one of which is Eddie Canfouche and the U1 Tate. Looks like he's going to fight for an inside lane.
He's going to fight for an inside lane, but Carson and Quentin is deep in turn 1, almost at the apex buoy as they hit 20 seconds. Now, that was the mark on the old build of this game. Let's see where the mark on the new build of this game is and where their rooster tails pick up. Looks like Eddie's picked up. Here's that 12-second mark for this build. We'll see where Eddie Canfouche goes if he tries to navigate in front of Quentin Miller and Carson Kelly. Now, it looks like Carson's going to get ahead of Quentin maybe as they hit the line mark, 1 minute. We'll see if anybody needs to go around. Score up violation on the U12. Quentin Miller needs to go around as Carson Kelly looks like he has lane 1 all to himself. If he can fend off a tremendous fight from Eddie Canfouche, we'll see if Eddie just sticks in lane 2 for the rest of the heat, Brad, as he did earlier in the day. And with that taller gear and that bigger prop, try to drive around Carson Kelly here in the Columbia Cup final.
Tough break for Quentin Miller. He was fighting for that inside lane. He jumped that 1 minute buoy, and then I thought up the backstretch, I thought maybe Eddie was going to be able to move over on Carson Kelly, but he was unable to do it. Carson Kelly is going to sit in lane number 1, driving the U8. It's going to be Eddie Canfouche in lane number 2. Bo Rarig and the other orange entry, Bucket List Racing, is going to be in lane number 3. Then it is going to be Tim Johnson in the Goodman Real Estate. We're inside 10 seconds to the start, inside 5 seconds to the start. Coming to the line, we are 2 seconds. 1 mark, and we are racing in the final heat. It appeared to be a clean start. We'll get it from the officials, but the boats are coming hard down to the lower corner. Carson Kelly is on the inside, but he's back about 2 boat lengths from Eddie Canfouche. Canfouche has got to leave him a lane in there, and also Carson Kelly's got to hold the lane. Carson's able to hold the lane and carve it through on the inside and stay with Canfouche, but Canfouche is going to get out of the corner about 2 boat lengths ahead. Great corner down there for Carson Kelly, but look at the boat speed of Eddie Canfouche. Tate. He's flying up the backstretch.
He's flying the U1 Bucket List Racing one up the backstretch. On here on the backstretch of lap 1, Carson Kelly's got to go out to lane 2, maybe hold that lane 2 as they go into the second turn and try to get some advantage through the turns on Eddie, because Eddie has that lane 2 setup that seems to work very, very well. We have Scott Przybylski and Tim Johnson battling on the outside lane, but Eddie Canfouche is going to cross the line in first place as they start lap number 2.
They finished the first of 5 laps around this 2.5-mile race course here on the Columbia. And that left side rear view mirror of Eddie Canfouche is still full of young Carson Kelly. But Kelly's given ground. He's back about 4 boat lengths right now. So he's given ground to Eddie Canfouche. And as you made the comment, Tate, Eddie told us he liked that lane 2 sequence around this race course. And right now he's got all kinds of clear water in front of him. He can pick and choose where he wants to go. Not the same for Carson Kelly. He's got to hold that inside line. Last time up the backstretch, the boat appeared to be really walking on the sponsons, as he is again now. He's flying the boat light, but so far he's not making up any ground on Fast Eddie, who still holds about a 3 or 4 boat length lead as they come off the top end of the course and come down to put 2 in the books.
To put 2 in the books and start lap 3 here in the final heat, Brad, Eddie Canfouche still maintains a lead of about a half a rooster tail over Carson Kelly. Now Carson is making his way up the rooster tail of Eddie Canfouche. He's trying to get as much ground as he can into the corners because Eddie's got the top end on him. If we remember back to our first race, Brad, in Guntersville, Alabama, we saw Carson have lane 1 and get into a roller and unfortunately suffer a crash on the final lap. So we'll see what happens here as they head up the backstretch for lap 3.
Yeah, Carson Kelly has closed it up a little bit. He was back about 5 boat lengths the last time they went through that lower corner. He's definitely closed it up a little bit. And look at the race we've got going for third. On the far outside, Scott Przybylski driving the 7 Boitano Home Spirit of Detroit. He's in 3rd place, but off to his left, we've got Tim Johnson in the 91 Goodman Real Estate. This is a very competitive final heat as they come down to put 3 laps in the books with 2 more to go. And Carson Kelly is just not going to go away. But Eddie Canfouche getting a fabulous boat ride right now. The boat is solid on the water, packing a lot of air underneath it. And here's a great camera view. You get to see exactly what Carson Kelly sees as he gets to that lower corner. You can definitely see Canfouche leaving him a lane in there, but it's not real wide. He tightens it up a little bit at the exit pin, but Carson is able to hold on to it. Fabulous view down the backstretch. You see what Carson Kelly sees out the front of that U8 Strong Racing entry. And so far, all he has seen is the transom of that Bucket List Racing U1 and Eddie Canfouche. Now we'll see if he can close it up a little bit at the top end of the course on that inside lane. He's got a good line through the corner, but Eddie is just coming off the exit pin with too much boat speed time and time again. The distance isn't changing very much as they'll come down and pick up the white flag. 1 more lap to go. It looks like it's Eddie's race if he can hold on for a lap, but we've seen stranger things happen, Tate Meyer.
We have absolutely seen stranger things happen as we start the final lap, and Eddie dives into turn number 1. If he can hold off Carson Kelly here for 1 final lap and maybe a charge from Scott Przybylski on the outside, he will be a repeat E-League Columbia Cup champion. He's the one that captured the title away from Matt Johnson last year. As they head up the backstretch on the final lap, Brad, bring our leaders to the checkered flag.
Up the top end of the race course here on the 5th and final time around. Fast Eddie Canfouche, he's our defending national high points champion. He needs to just hold off and come through clean at the top end of the race course. He's through the corner clean. I'll tell you what, you are getting a great charge from Scott Przybylski, but the winner of the 2021 H1 Unlimited E-League Columbia Cup, Eddie Canfouche, Bucket List Racing, the U1. 2nd place, I believe, will go to Carson Kelly, and a terrific run on the far outside by the U7 Boitano Home Spirit of Detroit. Scott Przybylski will come home in 3rd place. That'll be your podium finish. I believe the 4th place finish there, that is Bo Rarick coming down. I believe he is in 4th place. 5th place finish. Did Matt Johnson make his way up to 5th place? If he did,
he did. He actually
made his way through some traffic.
He made his way up to 6th place. We have Goodman Real Estate, Tim Johnson in 4th, Bo Rarick in 5th. Matt Johnson was able to drive around Quentin Miller after that score violation for 6th place, and Quentin Miller will finish in unfortunate 7th. But Eddie Canfouche, your 2021 H1 Unlimited E-League Columbia Cup champion, again back to back. As you see, he is going to his trailer that's parked under Bernie's tree. He will get that opportunity to park there next year as well in our next season, in season 3. What a drive from Eddie Canfouche, Brad.
Yeah, it really was. And he's going to come in and, it looked so easy because the boat ran so well. It was so solid on the water. And I think maybe we've got Eddie in the booth with us. And I think one thing he's going to tell us is he had a rear view mirror that was full of a young man by the name of Carson Kelly. Eddie, Carson was just not going to go away.
Yeah. Oh man, he's so good. He's so fast. He's gonna keep getting better. He's new to the setup things and everything, though I'm sure his dad's been helping him. And just he's gonna be so good. Not only in the game, watch out for him in the real boats too. That's a name to watch going forward. But yeah, he would not go away. I had to keep it tight on him in the corners because he was getting some good exits there.
Well, you mentioned that Carson Kelly's he's really, really a good driver. You're not half bad yourself, young man.
I appreciate it. I've had some good teachers along the way and a lot of time on this thing. So I've been able to figure everything out. I learned a lot about boat setup from my dad because he knew a lot, and I was able to translate that to this as well as I could and get the boat set up where I wanted to run. I wanted to run lane 2 all day. I ended up in lane 2 except for one heat, and it ran beautifully flat. It was real rough on that final, though, I'll tell you.
And did you feel it was a real advantage going into this race, being able to pit underneath the shade of Bernie's tree?
I think the virtual crew likes me a lot better because we get the tree again next year, and
Yes, you do.
there's a bit of black on
And
that boat too.
yes, there is. And, it was a good day for you. I haven't seen the totals yet, but obviously I'm sure it's going to be. There's a picture of our pit row. That is just a fantastic shot right there. Great look at pit row. The Columbia Cup champion, Eddie Canfush. I know that sounds really, really good. I'm sure the Stocklands have got to be very happy as well.
I sure hope so. They trust me enough to represent them in this game, and hopefully I can keep doing a good job because, they've been great to me, and they deserve it all.
Tate, you got something for Mr. Canfush?
Eddie, just a fantastic drive out there in lane 2, and you kind of told us before at the end of, I believe it was heat 1 or 2, that you didn't really like lane 1, and you had the opportunity to move over, but you stayed in lane 2 and used that taller gear and that bigger prop to your advantage. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, lane 1 gets rough. I mean, the whole course was rough that time. I think the second lap down the backstretch, I had to pull my foot quite a bit because it was kind of porpoising down the backstretch. I couldn't get it settled, and I know Carson was probably dealing with the same thing in lane 1. And it's rough out there. And if you can control your own destiny, I think lane 2 might be the place to be, at least in my personal preference.
Well, congratulations. You are the 2021 H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series champion of the Columbia Cup in Tri-Cities. Congratulations, Eddie.
Thank you very much. It feels real good. And one last time today, of course, you have to thank the Washington Angels foster care community, Atomic Screen Printing, Jesse Stitches, and APBA, because we wouldn't be able to do this without them here. So really appreciate that. Thanks again to the Stocklands and Taylor Evans and the whole crew. Just what a time.
Well, thank you. Congratulations. Tate Meyer, any final comments out of you? It was a great day of racing. I love that picture on the screen. It kind of looks like, we've had all the racing. All the boats are back on the trailer, sunny side up. Any closing comments from you on the 2021 Virtual Columbia Cup?
Just a great virtual Columbia Cup, Brad. I really hope we have the opportunity to go out there on the Columbia River for real this year, but the racing on this game you just cannot beat. It is so competitive between these 12 boats and these 12 drivers. I can't wait till we reconvene again in 2 weeks up here in the virtual Lake Washington for our Seattle race. So just a great day. I want to thank all the drivers. I want to thank you, Brad, for a great day, and all the people behind the scenes, Jared Meyer, our chief referee, for keeping all the drivers in order. And just a great race. I can't wait for another.
And we will have another one in 2 weeks, as you just said. Tate, I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank you for all of your work. I know you're doing double duty here as a producer engineer along with Jared. You guys do an amazing job. We have a glitch once in a while, but you guys are quick to make it right. And I don't know that our fans even realize it sometimes when we have a bit of a hiccup. You guys are amazing. Special thanks also behind the scenes to Emily and Shannon Rainey. Trust me, those of you that are listening, you have no idea how much work those people do and what they do to make this broadcast possible. One last time, I'd like to remind you, this is the H1 Unlimited E-League Hydroplane Racing Series presented by Spokane Angels Foster Care. It is brought to you in part by Spokane Angels and their 3 locations in Spokane, Seattle, and Olympia. Spokane Angels, where they wrap community around children, youth, and families experiencing foster care. And by Atomic Screen Printing and Embroidery, a leading Northwest producer of high-quality screen printed and embroidered products since 1998. And by Jesse's Stitches, custom embroidery, and more in Snohomish, Washington since 1990. I'd like to take this opportunity one last time to congratulate our 2021 Columbia Cup champion, Eddie Canfouche, in the U1 Bucket List Racing. 2 weeks from now, our racing will move across the state of Washington for the historic Seattle Seafair on Lake Washington. I know I will be there. We hope you will be too. From Tri-Cities, Washington, and on behalf of my partner, Tate Meyer, this is Brad Luce saying so long, everyone.